Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 57 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. There's really nowhere else for us to start tonight other than with the news that kind of shocked the golf world, the sports world, of Grayson Murray's passing on Saturday. There's not much to say, but if you've listened to our show, you know we have a connection there, so it hits a little closer to home. Our buddy Jay caddied for him since January, I believe. Yep. Had done some work for him in the past too, but there's just not much to say, man. It's just incredibly, incredibly sad.
Yeah. Obviously our connection with Jay makes it that much harder. But I think lost in all of it, like obviously Grayson having a career year and all that, like lost in all of it is just like the guy turned himself around and it's like he got to the peak of the mountain and then he's gone. Right? That's the hardest. That's been the hardest thing for me just as a human being thinking about the whole situation. It's like he completely turned himself around. When I like a complete 180 from 2 years ago. There was really nothing else to say. And you knew we were seeing this more, right? And that's what's hard. And shout out to all the people that listen, that reached out. I tried to convey that to Jay in a text, just like, hey, we're praying for you. You know, I had a ton of people reach out yesterday, like, holy crap, like what happened? And I'm like, I don't know, but we're going to find out. But a lot of people, that's how many people cared, like just in our audience, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think, for him he's been very outspoken about it. He's not hid behind it and stuff like that. And I think in that meeting, the infamous meeting where he got into it with Rory last year, he also brought up in that meeting to Jay Monahan about the PGA Tour doesn't have a lot of resources for stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Jay, because apparently he called him like that day and was like, hey, what can we do? I don't know if the PGA Tour has like enacted any of that. Not saying that like, hey, that could have changed things on Saturday or Friday night or whatever. But my hope out of all this and the crappiness that comes of this, and Jay losing a boss and a friend, and his parents losing a son, which is the hardest thing to do, is bury a kid. Mm-hmm. That like real change comes of it, at least on the PGA Tour level. Even if they have stuff right now, I hope they offer more things for it, right? Like whatever that looks like, I don't know. But that's my hope is, looking at the PGA Tour side is like, this is the one and only bullet that it's going to take for like actual things to happen on the PGA Tour where we like make change happen on that front.
Yeah. And there was two things. One, I think you kind of touched on what makes something like, mental health and wellness and depression and these things so incredibly difficult is it's a lifelong battle. It's a daily battle. It's not like you don't
just doesn't go away.
Yeah. You don't just fix it. And it can seem, like you said, Grayson took so many positive steps in his life, and everything on the outside, when you're looking at it from our perspective, we don't know him. Things seem fine. Right. And then, maybe they're not. So,
well, and I think that's the misconception, right? Like everybody thinks like, dude, the guy's having a career year.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be the happiest guy in the world. It's like, well, money and success doesn't buy everything, right? Even having friends doesn't fill every void in your life. So that's, and this is coming from a man. Men are so bad about this.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend pass away last year, decided that he was going to take his life. And there was 150,000 times that I thought, oh my God, if I'd have just called him, everything seemed fine. You know, he was always that guy. And that's what happens, right? Like, men are like, oh, I'm not going to be soft. I'm not going to, because I'll tell you, no man is going to reach out to another man and go, I'm having these issues. They're just not going to do it. So if any guy listening to this, you're not soft if you do stuff like this. Like, dude, if you have any thought, I'm an open book. Like, I text people back, call people. Like, it's not soft. And that's what it's like. We got to get past that misconception, because that's what, you know, a lot of guys just think, oh, I don't want to sound soft to my friends and this and that. Like, we've got to get past that. Like, outside of the whole PGA Tour, maybe offering things like on a human level, like, guys have to get past I'm soft if I reach out to somebody. Yeah. And that's where, like, the buck has to stop here. Like, I don't know. I'm just frustrated. Because I think that's where a lot of it stems from, is people just like, especially guys, are like, oh, I'm soft. And it's got to stop, man. God dang. Like, we're just losing too many good people way before we should lose them. You know, it just sucks. Yeah. And there's really no other way to put it.
No, that was all really well said. There are some people that had some really good words and things to say this weekend. You know, you saw Peter Malnati on TV with a really, really impassioned response, right from the heart. That I couldn't watch that without.
Dude, I lost
crying.
it. I think I texted you guys last night after we got back from the wedding, and I was like, "Do not watch this video." Yeah. Like, you know, it happened. We went to a wedding. We had a wedding last night, and I didn't really have like time to process it. Yeah. So I was like, kind of like, okay, like, I'm gonna process this tonight and tomorrow. And when I was like outside with the dogs, like after we got home, and I'm like, I watched that video, I'm like, shit, we're going to process this right now. And like, I watched that video, I'm like, dude, that's every person, how they're feeling. Now, he cried and stuff like that and really showed his emotions, but like, I'm assuming that's how everybody felt about it, right? Like, but yeah, I lost it. Yeah, that's why I said, I was like, if you don't watch this video tonight, if you want to watch it tomorrow. Because I completely lost it when I heard his interview.
Yeah, and then Harry Higgs won on the Korn Ferry Tour.
I just saw that. Yeah,
yeah, and kind of took his post-win press time to basically just say, be kind to people, right? Just reach out to the people that you know and love. Reach out to people you don't know, and kindness is free, right? It's just be a good, caring, empathetic person. You never know what anybody's going through, and maybe his words were, you could be the difference.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and that's perfect, man. Like, that's the biggest thing, is like, you could be the difference, like, whether you know it or not. And you may never know. Like, if you do something nice, you may not be like, oh, like, you were the difference between that guy, like, deciding this was it, and like, now he's not going to do it, right? Like, you just don't know. And in a lot of situations, you may never know, right? But like, God dang, just say hi to somebody, right? Like, that's really what it comes down to. And I thought about it all day. I've processed this 100 different ways and read more stuff about it. And then we found out today that obviously it was suicide. So I continue to kind of think about it. I'm saying this right now, that I don't know what foundation we're going to donate to, but when we do our turkey shoot the day on Black Friday, we are going to have some kind of fundraiser for suicide awareness, and that's what that tournament's going to be dedicated to this year. Yeah, and I love that idea. It just like instantly was the first thing. I'm like, what can I do? And that's definitely something we could do, right? Like, outside of being nice, and I'm like, what can I do to like give access to people, more people, outlets, so they don't do something like this? And that just I talked to Danielle about it, and she was, my wife, and she was like, that sounds like an awesome idea. I was like, perfect. I was like, that's what we're going to do. Like, and that's just the start, but I've got to be better at that stuff. I know you probably think the same thing. Like, just reaching out to somebody, just being nice, man. God, it's not that fucking hard. No. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just caring about somebody else, even if you don't know them. Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of that over the years. So,
I mean, it's a social media thing, right? Like, human interaction's not the same. Right. But, I think it makes it easier now that you can actually reach out to somebody you don't even know so easily and just be like, if you see a tone change in like what they're posting, like, just send them a nice message. You know, like it's easier now, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just heartbroken.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know him, right? But it's just like I know from losing a friend like this, the connection that, it's just hard, right? It's just a lot of broken people, and it sucks. It just sucks. So
yeah, and you mentioned resources before. I think it would, a good thing for us to do here is just to mention, if you or someone is struggling, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is always available 24/7. I think you just call or text 988 and they can get you some help to talk to somebody. It's also 988lifeline.org if you want to go or need to go check that out.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, and last thing is just, thoughts and prayers with Grayson's family and friends and, our friend Jay, and we're thinking about Jay and his family too. So,
Yep.
All right. And there's no easy transition away from that, obviously, but we are going to do the rest of a normal show here.
No, but we'll try to pick it up. We'll try to cheer it up, but that's the best we can do, right?
Right. That's all we can do. So yeah, shout out last night. The Guenther wedding finally happened. We've talked much about this on this show. And it lived up to the hype, let me tell you. It exceeded the hype, honestly.
I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, we had a surprise visitor. I thought was a fantastic touch.
Yeah. The UC Bearcat mascot showed up, which for anyone who's listening and does not know, Guenth actually was the mascot at UC during his time in college
Which
there.
made it so awesome.
Just an absolutely electric moment.
Showed up in a tux, too.
Yeah, in a tux. Just, I mean, the Bearcat's classy, all right? He knows the audience he's playing to, too. So
yeah, great dancer, by the way. He was a fantastic dancer. Had all the moves. Yeah, it was a good touch. The wedding was fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick, who married them, was the officiant of the wedding, did an awesome job.
I think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, nice short ceremony. The vows, they got me a little choked up there.
Dude, shout out to our guy Matt, who did the best man speech. I know everybody says they're all the same, right? Dude, Matt fucking killed it.
Matt
we'll just
slayed.
Dude,
absolutely slayed.
Yeah.
Honestly, might be the best one I've ever witnessed.
I would say I've probably been to 50 weddings, and that was definitely number one.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the girls crying. He had the guys a little choked up. It was fantastic. Yeah. Just top-notch best man speech. It was funny and touching at the same time. It had everything.
Yeah. And at Devou Park, which is, in northern Kentucky, overlooks the whole city, which is perfect for the two of them. Yep. Amazing view of the city. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I know you guys didn't go to the after party.
Did not.
I allegedly went to the after party.
Physically, you were there. Mentally, you were
not. Physically, my body was at the after party, but I was way gone. Doing a wedding weekend at 34.
It's tough.
It's tough. Started with the welcome drinks on Friday night, which was a fantastic time,
which I did not go to. I ended up making the conscious decision of focusing all my energy on Saturday.
Yeah, smart. They had the signature cocktails, right? Everybody pretty much does that these days. But they're classy. We're in our 30s now, so it's an old fashioned or a Paloma.
Yeah, I had
having a signature cocktail be an old fashioned is so dangerous. I think I had 6 or 7 old fashions last night.
Yeah, and I think I had 2, and I said I was going to have one with dinner because we were having steak, and I think bourbon and steak is one of the better combinations for steak. Steak and wine, like a red wine, but steak and an old fashioned it's up there, right? Yeah. So I had one with dinner, and I think I had one later on in the night, but I stuck to my guns. The anti-hangover drink, which is tequila, club soda, lime. Woke up feeling like $1 million this morning. I actually got up at 6:30, went and got donuts. I was on point this morning because I stayed away from the brown water. I did have a Paloma. The sugar was a little much in it, but I love Palomas. They were both great signature drinks, by the way.
That was amazing. So yeah, just wanted to shout out obviously the Guenthers and the Morrisons. Put on a fantastic evening.
They did.
And super happy for them. They're heading out for the honeymoon next week, so best wishes, travels.
Going to Belize?
Yeah, Belize. First time out of the country for our guy. Well, International Guenth. It could be a whole new.
Yeah, we know what seafood Guenth is. We know what summer Guenth is. I've never seen World Traveler Guenth. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait for the report back on that one. Okay, on to our golf.
Yeah,
a little bit of. I know you're kind of buzzing right now.
I am. Yeah. So I played Friday and Saturday. I played in a game on Friday. First 10 holes felt like deja vu all over again. And I think I've kind of mentioned it. I'm just making like really dumb before the last 8 holes and yesterday. Like I'm just making dumb mistakes and like just literally, I think I put it perfectly on Wednesday night. I'm like giving strokes out like Oprah. Like everybody gets a stroke. Like what hole would like every hole is like I'm just throwing away a hole, right? And I kind of started out that way on Friday, and then my last 8 holes I played at 2 under. Then played Saturday and shot out of a cannon. Had a stupid bogey on 3, but after that it was like chipped in for eagle on 5. Made some putts, like just, and then the back nine, I just, other than 11, just, it was easy. Like it was just easy golf. Like, and I was making putts and nothing felt hard, which is the best type of golf to play. When it kind of just feels like everything's coming very easily.
Yeah.
Shot 66 on Saturday. Probably should have been like a 63 or 64. I mean, like I said, I threw a couple shots away, like stupid shots, like kind of rearing its ugly head again. But it was pretty, it felt really easy. And so I'm like, I said on Friday, I was like on the back nine, I found something. Like I played the last 8 holes at 2 under. It's like, I think I found something. And Saturday proved that. But when we get to Wednesday night golf, like my Wednesday night round was just idiotic.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of how I always struggle with league because of that, right? Like you have this mentality to like go make birdies and try to win a skin and do it. And so it's just like you lose sense of, your course management, like on like a 9-hole basis or 18-hole basis.
Yeah. And you just throw, and then like you get bogey to death or, you throw in a double there, it's hard because you want to win skins too, right?
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah. You're looking for like peak holes more so than, trying to piece together a score.
Yeah.
Which those should come if you're trying to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a mentality thing for me with league. Wednesday, man, I shot a 40 that should have been a 36 or better. Like it was just that on 2 where you almost basically looked like you drove the green, but then hit that nasty wedge.
I've never hit a wedge that good in my life. Like how I wanted to hit it and like actually, doing it. Like it was like, that's exactly what I had in my head.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you do that on that hole. You do that. I've decided I'm done hitting driver on that hole.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm gonna take it out of the hand. That hole was playing dead downwind. It should be one of the easier holes on that side, and instead I hook a drive, and it just gets so tight so fast over there.
It does on the left side. Yeah,
and it just is like that. Those trees eat balls, and it ate mine. And I even found it and was able to like punch it out, and I still made a double from there. So it was just like
there's so many balls in those ones.
Oh yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah,
like you walk in and you're like, it's like one of those situations. It's hard to find your ball because there's so many balls in there,
and they're all pretty fresh. So
yeah, there's like and like a lot of times when you're looking for balls, like you're like, oh, this one looks older, like it's not mine for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, there's plenty of brand new balls in there. Like and that makes it hard to find too sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, I hit 7 of 9 greens and shot 40.
Whoa.
Yeah,
not great.
I 3-putted 9 because that pin was in that back spot.
Dude, that sucked.
I had like a 30-footer, so yeah, that one hurt. And then I bogeyed 6, but that was a par 5. That was when the storm started coming in, so like the wind and rain.
Yeah.
And we were a B group, so we were out there basically for an extra 15 minutes from everyone else. So it was like I was just gonna make a bogey because the weather was that shitty.
Yeah,
but yeah, everything was like I was hitting greens 2-putting all night long, except for the couple hiccups. And it's like, man, if it just put that ball in play, I'd probably make a par on that hole pretty easily. At worst, a bogey, and I shoot 38, 30, whatever. So
my Wednesday round was like the wildest 9 holes I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened?
Well, I mean, I saw your first hole, right? The wedge shot. So you start with the birdie.
Got off to a great start, made birdie. Next hole, hit the green, 3-putt. Okay, whatever. But I was getting a little frustrated because I'd been 3-putting a lot. Next hole, par. It's like, okay, we're off to a normal start. You know, we're even par through 3, whatever. I'm not a big fan of those. I started on 2. I really hate 2, 3, 4. Like, I just never play them well. Whatever. Bogey 5, 3-putt again, off the fringe.
Good God.
It's like, okay, whatever. 1 over. Next hole, good drive. Hit it on the front of the green. Pins all the way in the back. I make a putt that breaks like 7 feet.
Oh, my God.
Like, I literally hit it up. It goes diagonal directly, or I guess actually sideways, back down the hill, drain it. Eagle. Okay, all right. Hey, look, we're 1 under now. It's like, all right. I get the 7, drive downwind, definitely drivable. Hit it to like 20 feet, make the putt. Back-to-back eagles.
Jesus.
So now I'm like, all right, now we got a good round coming. Get to the par 5. Fuck around. Like, after a really good drive, I miss it right. I don't get my chip shot onto the green. I chip on 2-putt bogey. It's like, all right, well, that's stupid. Because now, going into that hole, I'm like, I can get the 4 under now. Like, this is a birdie hole. End up bogeying it. Next hole, 3-putt from 10 feet. And then 1, the storm's blown in. I'm so worried about... we're going to get into this now.
Oh, no.
I drove to the course. There was a 15% chance of rain. I drove to the course with my doors off my Jeep and my front top off my Jeep. 15% chance rain. Chances are not going to rain. Pretty good. Better chance it's not going to rain than rain.
Sure.
When we get on 1T, all I'm worried about is getting back to my car and getting my work computer out and like all this shit. Like, I know my car is going to get wet at this point. There's really nothing we can do about that. But I can limit the damage, right? Like,
so you didn't even have like any of it with you?
No,
it was at the house.
No, it was all at the house. Yeah, like Jeep stuff. Okay. Like, you could maybe put the front tops in, the back, but like the doors are at the house.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, having the front top on it would have probably limited some of the wetness. So like, I hit my tee shot on 1, chunk a chip into the bunker, or no, I chunk a chip, chunk the next one into the bunker, hit up, make bogey. I get up and down from out of the bunker.
Oh my God.
I immediately started sprinting back down 1, grabbed all my shit not attached to the Jeep and like threw it under the awning up there.
Yeah.
And when I say like I walked under the awning and all hell broke loose, like it was literally like 10 seconds later.
Dude.
And I'm just like, dude, my car is getting fucked on right now. Like, it was so bad. I had like 2 inches of water in my floorboards.
Yeah, I got to my truck and I saw it and I took that video and I was like, oh no.
Dude, so bad. And so like I had to do the plugs on the, like Jeeps have plugs on the floorboards. I had to do the plugs. That all drained out. But I dry some shit off. Forgot this like little ledge like at the top, and I drove off and the fucking water just comes back and like hits me in the face. And I'm like, and then it was like 64 degrees driving home.
Yeah. Oh.
I was freezing and wet, and like everything's wet. The next morning, so funny, I put everything back on because we were maybe supposed to get some rain that night. So I put everything back on when I got home. The next morning I wake up, dude, there was like 40 mosquitoes in my car because it was such a perfect environment for it.
God.
The humidity was probably like 95% in my car because the water was trying to evaporate, but it was just like getting stuck in the car. It finally has dried out, but like never again. But I've heard it's like a rite of passage as a Jeep owner to like make that mistake and you'll never do it again.
Exactly. You gotta, it's fuck around and find out situation.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta learn. Yeah, so Lee...
I end up shooting 36 after all, 2 eagles and a birdie.
So I need to know about we talked briefly about this at the wedding last night, the putter situation, because now you're hot again.
Yeah. So when we played on Saturday, like not a lot of putts that I should have made that didn't. Like maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But like even then, that's like 10 feet. It's like okay, it's not like yes, it's a makeable putt, but is it like you're gonna miss it more than you're gonna make it? Yeah, I ordered the jailbreak, and immediately after ordering the jailbreak, now the putter's hot. And it's so funny. Shout out to Joe. I played with him yesterday. He stayed up there for the draft for our tournament tomorrow for the Memorial Day. And he looked at Sean and he goes, if you let him putt with this new putter, you're a fucking idiot. Like he's like, do not let him use this new putter. The dude I bet I made 200 foot of putts yesterday.
Yeah.
He's like, do not let him use this new putter. It'd be so stupid.
Is it in?
It's not in yet.
Okay.
Supposedly this week.
You cannot bring this thing out next Sunday for our scramble.
No, I'm not going to do that to you guys.
Thank you. I cannot have you like trying to figure out a new putter in the middle
I'm not
of this
going to
thing.
do that to you guys.
Good. I would disallow it.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, and so that brings us to tomorrow, Memorial Day Scramble.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at the team. I looked at them a little bit with you yesterday.
Yeah, So here's how this works for everybody listening. It's just a traditional 4-man scramble, but it's A, B, C, D flighted by handicap. And the A players get to draft, and you go in order. You pick your B, you pick your C, you pick your D.
And the A players draft. It's a snake.
Yes.
So the worst A's go first for the B's.
So you had the second to last pick or third?
Yeah,
to last?
I was the second to last pick for the B group. Yeah.
Right. This is somewhat significant because Ryan has worked his way up to an A player for this event.
He was. Yeah, he was third.
I believe he was the 4th overall pick.
Okay.
Yours truly, sitting on the board. This is one of my best friends. I've known him since middle school. This motherfucker didn't pick me. And look, I told him last night, I knew his radio silence meant he didn't take me. Because he would have texted me.
He would have been like,
something.
hey, you're on my team.
Yeah, so when I saw him at the wedding, I had asked him. And so I had a little confrontation with him. I told him, I was like, I get it if you're, because there's some discrepancy between, the level of player within the B group, right? Like I was
definitely, you got some potential, and then you have some guys that are like, it kind of goes like this, like guys that are like steady, but it's like 78, 79, nothing better than that, right? Then you have like, what I would throw you in, like can shoot 75, probably in that like 78 to 80 range, right?
Yeah.
And then you have guys that are like, okay, he's shooting 80 to 82, right? That's kind of where the B's fall.
Yeah.
We're falling, at least in this, different people playing it every time. There are some rotation of people that, like for 4th of July and Labor Day, like there's some different people that work their way in and don't play and stuff like that. So it's pretty fluid situation. But like for this group, that's kind of how I broke down like the B's, right? In those kind of categories.
So I told him, I was like, I get it if there was like somebody that's a 5 sitting there and you could have taken them. And this is with no disrespect. Because I know Matt listens to the show, Matt Hinkle. We've talked about him before. That's who Ryan took. Again, no disrespect. But Matt and I are very similar players. Our handicaps are exactly the same. And so
Ryan made a conscious effort not to take you.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with Matt.
No.
It just has, your anger has everything to do with like, that's my friend picking, and he decided not to take me.
If you have a friend on the board and if you're not drafting that way, unless there's like I said, an egregious, like you have to take this person because they're literally that good.
There's a guy named Adam. We're going to leave out his last name. He hits the ball forever long, and he's like a 4 handicap. If he's available, I think he was like the first A or the first B. You gotta have to take him, right?
Sure.
Like you just have to.
Totally understand.
No offense to you, he just bombs the ball, and it's like you just have that extra guy that can get it out there at like 310, 315.
Yeah.
Makes more sense, right? But like if you have like all cards are even, like if we all have ace king, you would think that your friend would go with you. Now, I will say this. I'm going to apologize to you today. I knew I had you. I like the press buttons. I'm a button presser. I knew you were angry. I was leaning into it. I was saying that I'm standing behind my partner. I will say this. It was a little scummy.
Thank you. It's big of you to admit.
Him not picking it was a little scumbag.
Yeah.
It's a little scumbag.
It's absolute scumbag. For sure. I guess I should expect nothing less at this point, honestly. This could be a major fracture for next weekend's scramble.
It could.
Yeah. It just might be bad energy between me and Ryan, which is going to bring us all down if that's the case.
Because you're going to hit a good shot and like, oh, it wasn't good enough for Ryan's team. Like, that shot wasn't good enough.
The best thing that could happen is my team buries his team tomorrow. Whether we win or they, whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't even matter if you win.
Him.
Like, if you just need to beat them.
And then next Sunday, Ryan has to be like useless, and then I'm just like walking in 20 footers all day long, kind of thing. Yeah.
That's the best case scenario.
Yes.
It's a little scummy. Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I would have, honestly, I swear to God, I didn't even think that he wouldn't take you.
Yeah.
Like, I just assumed, like, oh, you're going to, now, if you weren't there, that's one thing. But, like, I assumed, like, and I didn't know how the draft shook out. I just knew when the bees got to me, there were 2 people left, and I had essentially choose one between 2 people, and you weren't one of them. So I had no idea where you went in the draft.
I went 6. Ryan picked 4th. I went 6.
Okay. Which I would have assumed. I actually thought you might have had a chance to go like 3rd, looking at the bees. But like what you got to realize too, like for people that don't know how this goes, like people will choose their friends, right? Like they might be the lower B, lower in the B group, but they're like, hey, this is my buddy. I'm taking him. You know, we're going to play together.
Exactly.
So like the orders can get messed up that way. Like you can have like a second to last B get taken because their friends drafting them,
right?
Essentially.
So yeah, I have the 8:45 a.m. tee time. I'm playing with Jeff Leshner, Tom Wiles, and Scott. Is it Rehberg or Rayberg? I don't know.
Rayberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's an absolute unit.
Yeah, he was an offensive lineman for the Browns.
Yeah. So I'm excited about my group. I think we got a pretty decent
squad. It's a great
squad.
group, yeah.
And then you are the group immediately behind us.
Yeah,
and Dave, Cody, and Scotty.
So essentially, I had 2 people to choose from in the Bs, but what I would say the only pick that I got, where I had like almost the whole table to choose from, I chose our buddy Cody.
Yeah.
And then I just by default ended up with another guy that I was probably end up going to take, and he's on my scramble team. He's a good locker room guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good for the vibes. Absolutely. Scotty's a good cheerleader too. You know, he keeps the spirits high.
Yeah.
And he can also, I'll tell you, like for a 13.5, like he's a really good putter. Like he can make some putts. So, But my only pick, I took Cody, our friend, because I'm not a scumbag.
Exactly. That rat Ryan Trinkle tees off at 9:22. If anybody wants to go out to the Elks tomorrow and heckle him,
yeah, or feel free to send him a text and call him a scumbag.
Yeah, that too. Everybody just text Ryan,
or find his social medias and call him a scumbag. His name's Ryan Trinkle.
Oh man! All right, well, looking forward to that. All jokes aside, and yeah, with that, I think we're gonna talk a little bit about the tour. Our one and done pick. So the Hoagie Man grinded for us.
He did
over the weekend to backdoor top 20. I believe it was T17.
Got off to a rough start though.
Yeah, I was immediate. Like I checked it, and I was like, he was like 1 or 2 over through 9 holes, and I was like, oh my god, yeah. So we did what we needed to do. We punted, we held serve, however you want to say it. Picked up like $120,000. We fell in the placings, but by like 10 spots. We're at 7.4 million. The money line is at 10.07 million. So
see, that's the thing though, is like one big tournament, we're right back in it.
Yeah.
Right?
We just got to keep at it. We're 2.6 million back with no chance of winning, I don't believe. We're like 9 million back at the leaders. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're not going to win, but we can get in the money. And that's
I think we can keep grinding and try to get in the money for sure.
Yep.
We did not look at this at all. So full disclosure for anyone who's, for whatever reason, if you would be tailing these picks, I pray for you. But
yeah. But we were kind of having a very serious discussion before we came on. It's like, oh shit, we got to pick somebody.
Yeah, so please bear with us. We're probably going to be a pretty chalky pick, but we have Tommy Fleetwood left, Canadian Open.
We're riding it. Yeah,
we're just gonna take Tommy and just hope it works out.
He got beat in the playoff last year.
I think it's at a different course, but I trust his game travels. Obviously,
yeah,
he's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've seen. Speaking of him, and he's part of probably the reason they kind of came to the top of my head. Like everybody, there's like I saw like 8 videos in the last 2 days of his drill that he does on the range with like the stick, and then like he's got an alignment like on the other side of the ball from like keeping him from coming too far inside and then over the top. But I was like, I maybe like subconsciously that was like putting that in my head. But I think his game, he can kind of line it up on any course and do fine.
When you hit it like he does, you're usually going to be all right.
Like,
it's going to come down to if he can
going to be
make a
on
putt.
him for his first PGA Tour win is the real question. Like,
it'd be kind of amazing if we were, because I mean, how many starts has he had at this point? I don't even know. Hundreds probably.
Yeah, and it's funny when Xander won at Valhalla, it was like, who's the next person that's like the best golfer? And I'm like, he's up there. I don't think he's that guy. Like, he's not like the best golfer without a major, but it's probably damn close.
Yeah, it's crazy because he doesn't have, like you said, doesn't have a PGA Tour win, but he's got several high profile.
He's got like international wins. Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny to think that like he could be in that conversation, but he also doesn't have a PGA Tour win.
Yeah, I mean it's wild to think about, but like it truly is. Like he's probably the most best is probably, I don't know, maybe not the way to put it, the most talented without one, 100%.
I think it's Victor.
Yeah, I guess that's probably
he's
true.
got a long enough track record.
They both have an immense amount of talent.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I'd probably say Victor just because he's actually, he's won the FedEx Cup.
Yeah,
so like,
and he won at Muirfield last year.
Yeah. So he's
in the conversation.
He's definitely part of the top 3
if
or
Victor
5.
won this year, it'd be like he may be the guy.
Yeah, that
doesn't have a major. That's probably the best player.
Crazy. All right, well, Tommy Ladd, let's get it done this week. The Canadian Open. And with that, I'm not having any, but I think it's time we go to the patio.
I'll drink one for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I did the tequila sodas last night. I was actually able to drink today.
I've got my Liquid Death here, which, by the way, I've not gone on the record, I don't think, saying this yet. I used to be pure lime guy. The orange is absolute fire.
I've never had a Liquid Death.
You need to get in on the game, and you got to start with orange. Orange is where it's at. I believe the flavor is...
It's just flavored water, right?
Yeah, it's sparkling water. Squeeze to Death is the name of the orange flavor.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. Pretty tasty. Not going to lie.
I like the can.
Yeah, they're...
it's like you're drinking, but you're not actually drinking.
I'm not even kidding you. I've bought endless number of packages of this. At least 70% of the time, the kid that's like scanning my groceries tries to like flag someone down to scan it because they think it's alcohol and they're not allowed because they're too young.
It does look like a seltzer can or something. Yeah,
it does. It does. Anyway, on to the patio.
I'm going to go first.
You're going to go first. I went first last week. Yep.
Shout out. So I started following this guy. Twitter X is a wild place. Like Golf X is just like it's a bag full of characters. Like you don't know what you're going to get. A lot of parody accounts, a lot of great parody accounts. Actually, I think probably some of the best parody accounts for sports is like Golf X. Like they've got so many good parody accounts.
Oh yeah.
Started following this guy, Country Club Snob.
Okay.
That's what his handle name is. And dude, some of the stuff he posts on there, look, I feel targeted by half of it. Doesn't mean it's not funny. But he had posted about like what people wear and things like that. You can kind of read by like what people wear.
Yeah.
But it made me think of this question. What is like the worst golf fashion thing out there like right now that people have adopted and like think it looks good?
Oh man,
I have a couple.
Such a good question. Yeah, fire them off. I might agree with you.
First is like not matching a belt with an outfit and just like wearing a belt to wear a belt. Like for instance, a lot of times when it happens is like someone's wearing like they're either their belt that has like their course on it or one that they bought at a course. You know, like the needle belts, but it doesn't like match the outfit at all.
Yeah. Like
they'll be like wearing a green belt with like blue shorts and like a white shirt. Like it's just terrible. Like it looks awful. That's my first one. But I think what takes the cake is the letter hats. The big letter hats.
Yep. Top of the list, honestly.
You know, like when you get like Pinehurst is like PNHRST. It's like, that's not even Pinehurst, bro. Like that's Peonhurst. Like, what are we even doing? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, and some of them don't make sense. I'm like, they're just awful. They're not good. Like, and I'm sorry if you wear one of those hats. They're not good. Like, I'm sorry you bought it. You should ask for your money back.
I agree with this take. Big time.
It's not good. Like, that's my number one. I could probably dig up 5, but I'm going to leave some floating out there for you. But, yeah, the not matching belt thing, like, to your outfit. Like, if your belt needs to match, like, it doesn't have to match your shoes. Like, 'cause that's, like, an old school thing. And I do that with, like, dress clothes and stuff. But, like, if you're wearing a blue belt, like, if you're wearing white shoes, whatever. Like, especially if it's, like, a needle nose belt that's, like, from a course or whatever. But for God's sakes, it's got to match your outfit.
Yeah. That one doesn't bother me as much, but I don't. Maybe I just don't pay too much attention to the
I do. The
belts.
Especially when it's like egregious, because people have been getting pretty egregious with it.
Yeah. I could see that. So this is kind of tough because I don't quite... Like, it's hard for me to determine, like, okay, what's like a recent trend versus like what's just kind of been happening. I know in my own golf wardrobe, like, there was like a period where it was kind of like the peak of like Rory Ricky stuff where like bright colors were a thing. Just like highlighter colors.
Yeah. And I have some shirts that I bought during that time.
Yeah, and they just kind of still sit in my closet. I'm like, why do I have this still? I don't wear them. But like and this is like, I'm just running a bus back over Ryan again because he's very guilty of the highlighter colors.
He's still into it. Very into it.
I just don't, I think it's bad. I think it's a bad look.
Not a good look.
No. So that's one that stands out. We just talked about Victor Hovland. I mean, the Jay Lindenberg stuff, just generally speaking, is...
And people have adopted that shit too, dude. Like, you'll see those shirts around, you're like, no, bro, I hope you got that for free. Like...
Yeah. I will say, so I own one of these shirts because certain brands do this right. Other ones I'm not a big fan of. But there's like a lot of like print shirts now. And a lot of them will be like, oh, it'll be like transfusions or like, drinks or beers.
So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like those things. But there are some that are like...
Stupid.
Not good.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Sometimes the prints can be a little much depending on what it is. Especially, like, I get if it's drinks or like golf clubs or pin flat, whatever. Some of the ones where it's like, I don't know, like surfboards or like beach.
Yeah, it's like, I'm golfing.
Yeah,
like so why do you have surfboards?
I don't think they're egregious, but I'm kind of like, whatever.
Like, I do have a shirt that like I think is kind of egregious as far as a print one. The only reason I bought it, my wife's from Texas. It had like cowboy boots on it and like rodeo guys riding the rodeo or whatever. I just thought it was cool. I was like, she's gonna love this shirt, so I bought it.
Yeah,
that's the only egregious one I have. I think it's a straight down shirt if I'm not mistaken. There's certain brands I think really do it really well. I think Straight Down does it really well. I think Peter Millar does it really well.
FootJoy makes some good ones too.
I think FootJoy's pretty good. I would say I'd put them behind the first two.
Yeah.
But there's also some brands out there I'm like, bro, like, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah, it's not.
Like a dog with a bone in its mouth. Like, I don't want to fucking wear that on a golf course. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think in general,
I'm not going to throw those brands under the bus. I'm not into that game.
No.
But I just think it's not something I would wear, or I don't think it looks very good.
I think that's the thing is I'm speaking to something that you're, I think, getting at with the big letter hats. I think they're the same people that would wear those two things.
Probably. Yeah.
At least what's in my head.
Unfortunately.
So that I don't know, maybe I'm just, I don't know. For me, and I think you're the same way, like I'm more of like a quote unquote traditionalist golf wise. Like I like more of like a clean,
I like a
minimalist.
Yeah, but
maybe
I
a little
like
hint of something.
Well, like I think the good print shirts are like that's
great,
going out on a limb of like, hey, I'm not wearing like just like a blue shorts and like, I don't know, like a green shirt or something, like something that like you're going out on a limb. It's like, hey, I've got a blue shorts on, like plain blue navy shorts, and like a white shirt with some print on it. Yeah. Like, that's a good look. Like, I think we are minimalist, though. I've become a minimalist, for sure.
Same.
Blues and khakis and grays. Like, that's...
Yep.
And if you're struggling to figure out what you want to wear on a golf course, like, that's a good place to start. Be a minimalist.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah. Another one, and I was thinking about this the other day. The G4 craze, I'm not like crazy into it. I've never worn them. I've heard they're super comfortable shoes. I think some of their designs are a little much for my taste.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't want to throw a brand under the bus, but like some of their shoes are a bit much.
I think I'm kind of with you where, and it may not even be just G4, but I sort of for a minute kind of got into like the whole like athletic looking golf shoes or whatever.
I don't hate those. I mean, I have plenty of pairs of those.
I think there's a difference though. There's like, the Jordans are one thing, right? Like that's kind of like, I put that in its own category. I'm talking more like the golf shoes that look like running shoes or basketball. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like when Nike came out with the Air Maxes and stuff like that.
I'm just kind of, I don't know. Just give me my FootJoys.
Yeah.
If you want to throw it back and do, get a little saddle in there, that's cool too. But these are all preferences for me. I just don't.
Yeah, and I will say you brought up a good point with the Jordans, right? I think that you cannot go wrong with the Dunks, with any retro Jordan look. Some of the Jordan looks, I'm like, not big fans of. Like, there's some out there, I'm like it's always like post Jordan 10s. If they come out with golf shoes with those, they're not good.
Yeah,
they're a bit much. But like, I've got Jordan 1 high tops. I think that's a great look. I've got the low top Dunks. I think I got Jordan 4s that were golf shoes. Like, that's a good look. It's like anything post Jordan 10s is not a good golf look. And there's some out there, and they're not good. Like, they're just not good.
Yeah.
But, like, people are like, oh, look, they're in stock. And it's like, yeah, they're in stock because no one wants them. Like, the people that actually, like, know Jordan shoes and shit, like, they don't want those.
Yeah.
They want, like, the retro look. And those do look good, I think. Like I said, I have a pair of high tops and the Dunks. Like, they're good. But, like, there's a couple out there, I'm like, they've been in stock since they came out. And it's like, there's a reason they're in stock.
Yeah.
Because the Jordan shoe head guys are not going after those. So.
Yeah, I can't. Nothing else really comes to mind. I don't think there's too much out there that's overly egregious.
I think we're past floppy hats. Just going to be on the record on that.
Yeah, like bucket hats.
Yeah, I think we're past that phase. I've got a couple, and I actually will wear them to the pool. The pool.
Yeah,
but I think we're past that stage.
Kind of the full like sun hat.
Yeah,
well, yeah. I own one as well, but you're right. I use it more like around the house. Or
yeah,
like
I think we're
past.
Yeah, I think we're past that stage. I think we've moved on from those.
I think
like
so,
they were
too.
good for like 2 or 3 years, and then it's like, okay, they're. What happens is like so many people come out with them, and then it's like, all right, I'm worn out. Like,
yeah.
And then like people start moving on to newer stuff. That's kind of my take. Like, I think that's eventually where the print shirts are going to go. Like, everybody's doing them, and it's just going to like die out.
Probably. One that came back a couple years ago that I originally thought I was going to be out on was like rope hats.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I was going to hate that. I thought they looked stupid. And then
I got so many of them.
I know. I'm in. You're wearing one right now. Our Patio Beers hat is
they're good.
Rope hats.
They're
Yeah.
good.
It just gives it a nice little extra dimension.
Yeah, like a nice like accent color, because you can always do like a different color. I don't know. I like them though. I thought they were going to die out pretty quickly though.
Yeah, I thought when I first saw them, I was like, man, this is stupid. What are we doing? Like but no, I think
dude, shout out to my brother. He adopted them pretty early, like in the whole rope, like the comeback of them. I did not. I was kind of a late bloomer, but
yeah,
I think that's a good look.
I agree. That was a good question. Hadn't thought about golf fashion in a while, so.
No, and I think some people that have never seen us on a golf course are probably like, it kind of gives you a little insight of what we wear.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not going to like make fun of you to your face. I'll do it behind your back.
Yeah, same.
Unless it's super egregious, and then I will make fun of you to your face. But.
Yeah. I'll explain the genesis for my question after we start to answer. I've had like a kind of a sneaky run of like, I've been putting notes in my phone. I've had some questions come to me. Like I'm being inspired by things lately. So I got some in the can. But this one, What is a normal everyday activity that gives you like irrational joy or satisfaction?
I'm just going to keep this simple. Like morning coffee, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a tone setter.
And it's so easy. Like I have a couple things. Like during school year, I make it at home. Like I've got a like an espresso machine.
Mm-hmm.
Make it at home. It makes coffee too. I do that at home. In the summer, I actually joined the Sip Club at Panera. Yeah, it's a thing. Trust me, look it up. It's like $12 a month, all you can drink. Like it's fantastic. And it includes like fountain drinks too, but like it includes like iced coffees, lattes, like all the for $12 a month.
Yeah.
And you can get one every day.
I mean, that's probably worth it.
So I join that in the summer typically because I'll like run out of the house. I'm able to leave the house earlier, so I don't have that time in the morning to do it at home. But like, dude, it's such a satisfying thing. It's like, all right, day started. Like I'm having my coffee.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah, I mean it's a true ritual, right? Like that is what it is. That's part of the routine. It's a habit. There's like a certain feeling you get drinking your morning coffee.
Very satisfying.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like that guy of like, don't talk to me before my morning coffee guy. And I'm not that way at all. It's just truly my day. Like that's how I start my day.
Yeah. And it's always weird too when you don't start your day that way. It like does throw you.
A little bit. Because there's been times where I'm like, I'll forget or I'm like doing something, I don't have it. And I'm like, kind of like, I feel like I'm scrambling the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gets you out of routine, out of order. For me, the reason I came up with this question is, so we recently did a little bit of like improvements to our landscaping out front in our house. We had some people do it a couple years back and then put in like some rock and, all that stuff. Well, the rock started to like, they didn't put any liner down when they did it. So like it started to sink in, so we're like, all right, we're going to dig these up. We're going to put some liner down. We're going to put like the edging, the black edging stuff. And so when I pulled up the other day after we had just cut the grass and done all the weed eating and all that stuff, because it looks really good out there now. And I was like, damn, like that edge line is so fucking crisp. And I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, God, I'm such a dad now. Like I'm peak suburban dad, just like proud of my grass and my landscaping.
I'll tell you, that's not a bad one because I do, like, I hate cutting the grass.
Yeah.
But, like, when it's done, you're, like, looking, you're like, fuck, those lines are good.
I know. You look out that back window or whatever out of your kitchen and you're like, man.
Like, I kept it fucking steady today.
Yeah. And we're at that time of year right now, too, where it's, like, the grass is, like, full. Yeah. It's so, and you cut it and you can see, like you said, the lines are perfect, the direction you went.
It's so good.
Yeah. There's got, like, a certain shine to the grass right now. That's
so
just,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when you get into August, it sucks. Like, you don't see lines. It's dry as shit.
Yeah.
You're cutting your grass like once every 3 weeks. But right now, you look out there and you're like, you see those lines, it looks like a fairway. You're like, fuck, I brought it today. Like, I brought my A game.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good feeling. It's satisfying. I hate cutting. Dude, it's like, feels like such a waste of time.
I know.
But it is satisfying, like when you get done.
Yeah, so that it overcame me. I was just like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm this guy now. Because I growing up and stuff, like when we first started, like we owned our first house, I was like, I'm never going to be like, I've got like a neighbor behind me cuts his grass literally like 3 times a week. He will cut his grass.
That's crazy.
So like, I'm not that guy, but there is just like a newfound satisfaction that I've discovered.
Yeah, because it looks good, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like, it's the first impression.
Well, it's like, when your house is messy or whatever and it just like kind of wears on you. Like you just feel it when you walk in. It's like bad energy.
Yeah.
Well, when you drive up to your house and like it just looks
like
nice.
Decent. Like I'm not like saying it's got to be perfect.
Yeah,
like,
I still got weeds and whatever.
Like, yeah, but like, like keep it a little fresh, you know? And it's a good first impression.
Yeah, and it's like you take a little pride. You're a homeowner if, in this case, and it's like have a little pride.
Well, I'll tell you this, like I've driven up to many of houses and like the ones that you see the outside, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, bro, they haven't picked a weed in like 6 years. You typically walk in and the inside matches the outside. Like, I'm not calling anybody individually out, but it just is. Like, you're like, they're not taking care of the outside. They're definitely not taking care of the inside. Like, not trying to be an a-hole, but like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just the facts. And I bet if it probably checks out.
Yeah, there's definitely a correlation. I would.
Yeah, it checks out.
Probably like an 80 to 90% correlation, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something else. I'll tell you, I love brushing my teeth. Like, I know that sounds so simple, but like, especially right before bed, like you just like, okay, like, you're eating some stuff throughout the day and it's like, get some little grit. I try to brush my teeth 3 times a day.
Yeah, I've contemplated like toothbrush at work situation.
I have
like having like a lunch toothbrush or toothbrushing would be pretty ideal.
Yeah, I keep one in my desk.
Yeah,
100%. Like there's just sometimes I have a meal and I'm like, okay, I've like just got to brush my teeth.
Yeah,
it's a simple thing, but I love mouthwash too. Like mouthwash.
You big mint guy.
I just Listerine, like it like burns
it's a good
little
burn.
bit.
Yeah, it's a good burn.
Like, all right, I'm killing some shit in my mouth right now. I like this. Like, I don't know. That's so simple. I'm trying to think of something else. It's all like, it feels like it's like all around the house. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
because like it's like the start of your day. I think like a glass of water, like with ice, and I'm a big crushed ice guy. Like a glass of water, like right after any activity is kind of very satisfying too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like ice water, like crushed ice.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat the ice and drink the water. That's very satisfying.
Yeah, I can't.
So simple, but like satisfying.
I hate doing. There's 2 things that the bane of everyone's existence is laundry and dishes. But those are 2 things. Like they don't give me any joy or whatever. But them being done, like that stuff being taken care of, is just a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a relief.
Yeah.
We had we were down at the pool. There's like 4 teachers in our neighborhood, and look, I know teachers get like a couple months off, but like the last week and a half is not fun for them.
Disaster.
Like grades, kids are just like mailing it in. It's not fun. But we were like talking, and it was like, one of the teachers like, dude, like my house is a wreck right now. And like, I just kind of let everything go the last week and a half. Like I haven't done anything. And it was funny. I was like, I feel that because we had a serious dishes situation in our house, and it was like, someone's got to do these.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to cook today. It was like, I'm going to cook, you do the dishes. And like, when they were done, it's like, fuck it. There's something about like seeing the bottom of your sink. It's like, oh,
I know.
Like, God dang, it feels so much like the rest of the kitchen can be wrecked. And it's like, it feels cleaner in here because these are done.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
It's a real thing.
Definitely is.
Yeah. There's so many, there's so many small things. I'm an easily amused guy and like satisfied guy. Like there doesn't take much, especially in my older age.
Oh yeah. The bar gets lower to clear every day.
Yeah, you're like perfect example. Like last night, it's like we were only gone for like 4 hours, but like just having like time to ourselves for 4 hours was like, dude, it's so satisfying.
Yeah,
worth the money. Like
always.
It's funny. Like God bless our babysitter. She never like tells us what we need to pay. Kind of one of those things. Like it's like we're gonna side on the higher side, just so it's like she doesn't feel wronged or anything, and. We've never had complaints, but it's like, I don't think she knows I'd pay like quadruple what I pay her. Like there's no amount of money that I would pay for like 4 hours just to get like reprieve.
Yeah. Just to be an adult.
Yeah.
And to be with your spouse.
Yeah. It's like a perfect example. Like before we came here, it's like we're sitting at the pool and like our kids would like know everybody's kids like wanted to sit at the adult table. It's like, we just want to have an adult conversation with no kids around.
Yeah.
But it's like they instantly were like sitting down. It's like, fuck, dude.
I know.
Someone gave my kids. Like, I just want to have an adult conversation without kids around. Like,
it's the little things, all right?
Yeah, it is.
It really is. All right. Well, speaking of adult time and stuff, your boy's taking a big trip, 10-year anniversary this year for Susie and I. You need a guest or host for the next 2 weeks. I will be out.
Yeah.
I might call in. I'll leave you a voice message.
So just to go over that, I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna line up. So I'm gonna do it on our our virtual room. I'm going to line up times for people to pop in. There is a waiting room in our thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to open this up. I think not the first week. I'm going to plan some people to pop in the first week.
Sure.
The second week, June 10th, we're going to open it up, and I'm going to start letting people in from the waiting room. So just for everybody to know, it's going to start at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So after 9 o'clock, I'm going to start letting people in.
I did not consent to this, by the way, but
we're going to have some boundaries, though.
Come one, come all.
We're going to have some boundaries. And I'm going to tell you got to come prepared. Because if you're not prepared, I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going through a relatively regular show. If you pop in during the PGA Tour talk, like, you better be prepared. But I think ultimately what it's going to turn into is I'm going to do some segments, go through our regular show. We're going to pop in and take some questions.
It's going to be a giant Patio Beers session.
It probably is. And I'm honestly looking forward to some fresh Patio Beer questions.
Yeah.
From the outsiders. I always get really good ones from people who are like, hey, I heard the segment, like, this would be a really good question.
Yeah.
That's how I get most of my questions, actually.
Crowdsourcing, yep.
Like, people are like, hey, like, I know your segment. Like, this is a good question. And I take it.
Yeah.
And I don't give credit, unfortunately. I'm sorry for whoever's ever given me a question that I've used and never given credit for. But next week, we're going to have planned pop-ins. The following week, we're going to do it. We're going to see awesome. We're going to see how this turns out. Yeah. I hope it turns. Look, I encourage it. Like, I've always wanted to do talk show radio, like a talk show radio, whatever, like call-ins. I encourage anybody and everybody to hop in.
All right. Well, hopefully when I get back from this trip, we still have a podcast and we're not canceled. So.
Yeah, and this is gonna be a huge mistake, but I think we're gonna put the link out the day of on our Instagram that you can click into this episode.
Godspeed to you, sir. Good luck.
I think it's gonna turn out fine. I think it's gonna be okay.
I think it'll be fun.
I trust people way too much though, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, just keep that finger on the.
And I'm going to remind on
the boot button.
Yeah, and mute.
Yeah,
and mute
the mute button. There you go.
I think it'll be fine, but I think it'll be fun. So let's try to make it fun.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be interesting, though.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to listening to that. But everyone else out there, I will see you in 2 weeks. And until then, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.